All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Rebel Soul Stories, episode 3. I am your host, Shannon McAllister, and I am so excited today to have Amber and her partner, Julieta. Amber and I actually used to work together at a startup for about 2 years, and we became really, really close. We were both super into meditation, really into company culture and diversity and inclusion. So she's kind of been my partner in crime for the last couple years, and I am so excited to connect with her and Julieta today. So I'll kick it over to them to introduce themselves.
Thank you, Shannon, so much for having us today. We're so excited to talk to you and everyone. I am Amber Eagle. I am a life coach, more specifically a confidence coach. And this is my partner, Julieta, of 11 years.
I'm Julieta, and together we are content creators for Honey I Roam.
Ooh, amazing. So if you guys haven't checked out Honey I Roam yet, highly recommend. Both Amber and Julieta have the link in their bios, and I have that saved in my stories. I'll also make sure it's posted today if it fell off, because you never know when those stories are going to fall off. So we're going to get started with the questions. So just recently, Amber and Julieta decided to move across the country. So I really wanted to know more about their journey. So where were you guys before going on your soul journey and moving across the country? How were you feeling? Where were you working? What kind of lifestyle were you living?
Our original soul journey started 8 years ago when we moved from our hometowns in Titusville, Florida to San Francisco. And we didn't have a setup yet. We didn't have a house or jobs or anything planned. Her sister moved there 1 year before and told us about all the fun things she was doing. So we wanted to jump on that bandwagon. So we saved up everything that we could for 6 months and embarked on our journey, driving from Florida to San Francisco, utilizing Couchsurfing, which is a website, along the way. So we met all kinds of cool people along our journey and got to know each town along the way. Once we got to San Francisco, it was a beautiful 8 years. We started out
very modest. We started out very modest. It was very expensive, and we weren't as aware of how expensive it was there. But I think that really pushed us to strive for more and to work very hard. So ultimately, we ended up becoming, I was a property manager right before we left. I did that for the last 7 years in San Francisco. And I managed buildings, and we also lived on site. So that was part of the deal. So I lived there, and that helped out with our rent. And Amber,
like Shannon was saying, we worked together in the startup world. So worked at a really cool company called Zumper. And I was really grateful to be part of a community where we learned and grew from each other, and the perks were off the chain. We had really great incentives to stay. It was very hard. I can't say any of it was easy. I can say that it was fun. As far as how we were feeling, scared is something that is always at the forefront of your mind, but that's something that we worked on together to jump through those hoops. For instance, when I was really hesitant about doing something, Julieta could encourage me and say, we can do this, and vice versa. So having that team unit really got us far in all of this.
And prior to even making the move from Florida to San Francisco, I was so scared. I was fresh out of college. I didn't have very much experience in anything, so I did not know what to expect at all. But that push, there seriously was a force that was just pushing us to San Francisco. Like Amber said, we didn't have anything set up, and it just eventually came to us, and it was through like hard work and desire that I think that we ended up having an amazing life in San Francisco. Mm-hmm. But, we did do the 8 to 5, 40 plus hour weeks. So, it was a lot of work. At times it was stressful. And I think a lot of people living in city settings and everywhere, they really are like just trying to make ends meet, Yeah. And that's pretty much what took us.
That was our journey to San Francisco. And then after the 8 years, we had that same pull, that same undeniable feeling that drew us back home. And that wasn't a decision on a whim by any means. It took a lot of thought and consideration, because we had built this life in San
Yeah.
Francisco. We had our network, our community, our stable jobs. During all of this COVID, we want stability, but we also still have to follow our hearts.
Yeah.
So we had been planning this journey before the COVID happened, and we still implemented everything that we wanted to do.
I love that. And so for you guys, what were kind of those signs that kick-started that this last move? Like, was it like a feeling in your body? Were you getting like signs on the internet, like Florida was just popping up? Like, what was really that pull that got you to go?
Yeah.
A combination of all of those.
Yeah.
So I really do believe in signs, and maybe that's just because it helps me personally to know that I'm going in the right direction. But we missed our families, hands down. Whenever we came home to visit, it would be for 2 to 7 days. And it's just different. When you visit and you're on a time schedule with your family, it's a different experience than it is to wake up, have coffee, say, hey, what do you want to do today? That's never a question that we had on the short visits. So us just talking like little tidbits about, oh, I really miss my mom, or, oh, I really wish we could go to my grandma's birthday party, and things like that. Once those start to build up after so many years, you think, wow, I can only be happy once I follow my heart.
We did follow our hearts. And I think it was also building roots. We wanted to build roots. And I think getting into our 30s and having those great jobs, we were looking for something more. And there's so much more than just that good 8 to 5 job. You know what I mean? So much more than the office job. So it was building roots and being close to family that is true. It's priority in life, I feel like.
Absolutely. I love that. And like we were kind of talking earlier, just getting back to the roots and the simplicity. I feel like this time really, got a lot of us thinking about what's truly important. So I love that you guys really figured that out and followed your heart. That's amazing.
It's an intuition. Right. Yeah. It's an intuition too, I feel like.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. So can you guys talk about Honey I Roam? What was that journey like? What really sparked creating Honey I Roam? And just tell us a little bit more about that whole process.
So when we left Florida and moved to California, it really made us realize everything that we missed out on that was in our hometown or in our home state that we didn't take advantage of, different hobbies, different activities, nature. Like there was so much that we didn't do for some reason. Mm-hmm. And so when we got to California and we had these stable jobs, we wanted to explore. We wanted to explore everything around San Francisco in California because, I mean, you're there. Yeah. It's gorgeous. It has so much to offer. And I think that that's one of so since we were exploring so much, we were like, let's YouTube this. Let's try it out. Let's document this and see what's going on. Because we were really big on Instagram. We always posted to our stories and stuff just to share with our friends and family.
But like you said, they go away in 24 hours.
Yeah.
So we wanted something that would really stick. And so we just started. We just picked up our iPhones at first.
Yeah.
Luckily, Julieta is really into her hobbies when she gets into them. So she upgraded our cameras pretty recently after trying. And then I got us the MacBook Pro. So it really makes everything smooth in that regard.
I wanted to get very involved in video editing and the filming process. And it also just added an extra layer whenever we were traveling and doing our exploring, and we like to eat food. So we just wanted to share that on a different platform and more of a video vlogging type style. And I think that YouTube is really the best for that.
It almost gives us a sense of confidence when we go places with the camera, and we have the nice camera with the fuzzy microphone, and it automatically looks professional. So when you're going somewhere, people are looking at you reviewing this food, and instead of feeling embarrassed or shy, it gives me this extra confidence where I can really say, hi, we're here at this restaurant and we're going to try this. And so it really helps with the whole process.
It's a good conversation starter, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I love that. And you guys always have the yummiest food. I have to say, like, you always make me so hungry. And I'm like, ooh, I want that.
Well, hopefully we inspire you to go try something new there too.
Always.
And on a selfish level, it's nice for us to have the documentation of it. For instance, we did a Honey I Roam Hawaii video. And of course I remember the the whole trip and all the details, but to watch it, it brings back so many more special memories that we would have never had.
It's so nice to relive. And I think, you know, we all have influences that we follow, or people who are vlogging, and just to have that connection with other people that, you know, we're all just living our lives and trying to see how other people live and trying to gain some inspiration from that.
Yes, I love that so much. You guys recently just tried like fried green tomatoes, and I was like, oh, give me.
Shannon, you have to come to the South.
Boiled peanuts and sweet tea and everything on the grill.
And so many areas, you know, when we travel, it's like, it really humbles you, you know, it really is a humbling experience to travel somewhere and not really know where you're going or what's going on, and to experience that and just be respectful of people's culture. It's really a beautiful thing that we're all just people of this world, you know.
A highlight for me is experiencing everyone's normal. So going to a town, going into a grocery store, and just seeing what the people are like. And that's where they shop all the time. Some people, that's the only store they shop in for their whole lives. Like, for instance, my family, they're happy living in the same home that they always have, where we have that itch, that undeniable travel bug. So I just think it's great that you can see how everyone lives, and it's all totally normal and acceptable. It's just different.
And that leads us into our video that I'm going to post today, actually, and it's 3 tips to travel locally. So kind of exploring your hometown with like new eyes and getting a new perspective and exploring where you live, especially right now since we're kind of
isolated.
Yeah, we're kind of isolated.
I love that. That's like something, because I'm missing traveling this summer, and so I bought like a hiking backpack for my son so I can just start traveling and doing hikes nearby. And so I'm so excited to just explore locally. So I love that you're doing those tips today.
As soon as we saw that, I saw yours on Instagram, and I said, look, this is what we're doing our video about too. So it's so cool that me and you, that we're all on the same page.
Yes, I love it. Awesome. So for you guys, you're currently looking for a new hometown. How's that search going?
Exciting.
It's
so fun to drive to all of these different cities and just know that the possibilities are endless. So she loves looking on Zillow and Zumper and all of the search sites to see what the options are, and then looking at how close they are to the beach, what the amenities are, and just knowing that anything is an option. I mean, of course, we have to filter by price.
But once we get our, you know, jobs, depending on what those is and what path we're going down, I mean, that's also kind of these transitory times where you're like in between jobs, and do I still want to do what I did before? You know, am I looking to do a new path? And I think we're kind of in that position right now to see like, what is our future? You know, what will lie in our future, and what kind of future do we want to make?
Yeah. We have narrowed it down to that we want to be within, say, an hour of our families. So we know what coast that we want to be on, and I don't think that it would be as satisfying to move to Florida but to live 7 hours away. That would be defeating the purpose of living closer to our families. So we're narrowing it down.
The Florida Keys, we're gonna make a video about that. We're gonna go there sometime soon. That is an amazing area, and that's about 8 hours away from our family and
we might never leave.
It's pretty awesome there. Yeah, that's
might not come back.
We might not.
Yeah, so we'll see.
I love that. So you guys kind of touched on it. So what's next for you guys? Just really narrowing down your hometown and then jobs, and how are you kind of going about that?
Well, before we left from San Francisco to Florida, we had planned a whole trip to Bali. So we were planning on doing Honey I Roam International. We had our whole Bali trip booked. I'm talking tree houses, private villas, everything was set up. But when we got to Florida, our flight was canceled from Singapore to Hong Kong to Bali. And then we rescheduled all of our accommodations. So we're planning on still taking that trip in October.
Oh, awesome.
And in the meantime, we've been staying with our families. Like my brother and his wife have a great place, my parents. And since we've been gone for so long, no one's sick of us yet, you know?
Yeah.
We can stay places. So. Yeah. So in the meantime, we're traveling. Florida. Actually, we went to North Carolina yesterday, so I can't say that. But after October, Bali, probably 2 months or so internationally. and then come back in January is the plan. And that's when we'll really look at actually purchasing a home.
I love that. I'm so excited for you guys. I feel like the possibilities are endless for you. And I love that you really followed your heart and went after it. And it sounds like you guys are, you know, on your right path for right now. And that's amazing. I'm so excited.
Yeah. Just to encourage others who are considering doing something like this, on our move from Florida to San Francisco, we were in our early 20s. To be totally honest, we only had, I think, $3,500 total between the two of us. And we still had to get there, get set up with a place. And we had so much faith and hope and strength within us that we made it happen. So you can make it happen. You don't have to go to fancy restaurants. At the end of our 8 years in San Francisco, we were eating at the finest restaurants because we had worked so hard once we got there. But if you're willing to sacrifice a few luxuries, you can make it happen.
I love that. And I feel like you bring up such a good point. It's like, follow your heart and just trust that you will be taken care of. Trust that opportunities will come up. Trust that you're gonna figure it out. You don't have to always know the how, but if you know where you're going and just follow that pool of your heart and just trust, like, God, universe will literally take care of you because you're following your heart and your intuition. So
so true. That's what we always say. So having that faith and that trust in, you know, whatever your trust is in, but also in yourself, and just knowing that you're going to do what you need to do, you know, it's huge.
And talk to people about it too. It's hard to keep everything internalized because you feel like you have this goal, but you can't connect all the dots. But saying things out loud or writing them in a journal, it really solidifies everything and just makes it more realistic. You know, you say, oh, wow, get there. You say, okay, people travel all the time. I can drive 8 hours and then get a hotel for $60 and do it again. You know, it kind of, once you see it, it makes it more doable.
And I feel like, to a good point, once you tell people too, people weirdly want to help you. Like, I remember when I was moving to Monterey, I put it out on Facebook and 3 people reached out and said, oh, I have friends that need a roommate. And it was like, oh, now I have people that I'm connected to, you know? And so it's so true. Like, put it out there and just tell friends, tell family, and people want to naturally like help you with that journey.
Exactly. And it helps with accountability.
Yes.
Right? When you say it out loud and someone says, oh, I thought you were doing this amazing thing. And you're like, oh, well, you really want to do it more if other people are expecting you to.
And you have to follow through once you say it. So
yeah,
put it out there to your community and see what good comes.
Not required, but helpful.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming on. Like they just mentioned, they're going to be dropping a new video tonight, so go check it out for their 3 tips for traveling locally. And thank you again for coming on. I love you guys. I definitely want to come out and visit once you get settled, so maybe we can plan that, and then I can be on a Honey I Roam episode with you guys. That would be fun.
Yes, we can't wait
for having us. Thank you for being with us.
Yeah, we love you so much.
Well, have a wonderful rest of your Sunday, and we will stay in touch. I love you guys so much.
Thank you. We love you. Bye.
Bye.